The PL Show is brought to you by Roma Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Phenomenal Lady Show. My name is Klordey Fritzal Abban. I am sitting in for your regular host, Kemini Amano. This is the PL Show, and on this show, our main objective is to share with you, the youth, inspirational stories about ladies who are doing awesomely well in their various fields. Women who believe in faith, focus, and self-determination. This is the PL Show, and it's sponsored by Roma Mosquito Spray and Coil in Tuntum Master, Feckle Spray Starch, Look Sharp. It is a PL Show, and we'll return after the break.
Should you Roma to me?
And Tuntum Master, a baby, you are She's so mad. Roma insecticide spray ada Roma. Entafre, entatia, mekecheha. No way. Yemikuno. Entonton bako crown fanemo. Enoso a empusi. Roma insecticide spray and mosquito coil. Emma wo there we sham. Roma enquire.
Roma and Tonton Master.
Wow! My uniform looks different.
Feckle Spray Starch, Majimo Point. Actually, pause. When you want to run into the moon, I feel your spray starch, Papa. On particles be our water, no wrinkles, smooth iron.
Yes, Papa. Feckle Spray Starch. Me here perfume.
Also, you guy. Feckle Spray Starch.
Look sharp.
Look sharp. Look sharp.
Welcome back from the break. This is the PL Show. Today on the PL Show, we're bringing you a very insightful conversation about two awesome ladies. I call them the powerhouse in the field of architecture. Let's take a look at the profile of my guest.
In 2011, Akua Oppong Birmeh established the first female-dominated architectural firm in Ghana, with over 70% of the workforce being women. Embracing the core values of integrity, innovation, and growth, Akua ranks among the top female architect CEOs with award-winning projects from residences, financial, and hospitality. Her insatiable desire to be different is evident in her numerous designs that have emerged from her drawing board to the ground. She offers hope to the young Ghanaian entrepreneur that they can achieve whatever they put their mind to with a well-driven focus. Agnes Ofosu-Appiah has been in the building industry for 11 years. She's a trained architect from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and is driven by passion to add value and enhance all skylines in Africa and beyond. Her vision for Africa is to have an architecture that is culturally relevant, technologically advanced, and bioclimatically sensitive to the people on the continent. She holds steadfast to the principles of integrity, truth, excellence, and simplicity.
Okay, so I told you that I'm going to have a beautiful conversation with two amazing women in the field of architecture. Let's welcome Akua and Agnes on the PL Show. Ladies, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Akua, architecture, 11 years or more, Agnes has been in the business. What's the motivation? How did it start?
So I was working in an office after school. And after I got my professional license, I started freelancing. And the freelancing also started growing. And I'd call on a couple of colleagues to join me to try and get things done. And it started getting bigger and bigger. So eventually I decided to formalize it as a firm. I had a major client who was also starting out as a developer. And that was Imperial Homes. So we did one first project which was quite successful, and from there, the projects kept following, and through that, I kept also bringing on support from colleagues, and eventually that became the beginning of Agnes.
10 years more, has it been worth it?
Oh yes, it has definitely been worth it. I envisioned the kind of company I would have liked to work in, and I created that in the process. So basically, it has been worth it because it's also led the way in a lot of things for our industry. Agnes has led in a lot of things for our industry, and so definitely it's been worth it.
I'm excited to hear that Agnes has actually led a lot of way for other people.
Yes.
As far as your field of work is concerned. Are there challenges, I mean practical challenges, that at a point you wish that I didn't say yes to this field?
Yes. Definitely. Because we were leading the way with so many things, we didn't have precedence. And so we've literally been experimenting, trying out different systems, and Agnes is here, she's the systems guru. almost every year we are trying out something else. But you see, what's happening is we are also discovering new ways of doing things, which becomes then a precedent for others.
Great.
And I think that's the important thing about being a leader in an industry, because you get to discover things and others can fall on it for their own growth.
Let me bring Agnes into the conversation because she is a CEO of Agnes, and so I guess that you run the day-to-day official stuff that had to do with the business. Is that correct?
Yes, I do that.
Are there readily resources that are available for your kind of work?
Okay, so resources could include skill set. So we need a structural engineer to look at an existing building and give the client maybe a structural integrity report. We look at the building type, the client type, look in our pool of consultants, and then check on availability and assign someone or commission somebody for it. So that's an example of a resource.
Okay.
There's, monetary resource as well. There's also time. But I think my favorite would be looking at whoever's superpower is required for this thing. Everybody has their, we are all trained a certain way, but everyone has what they are best at. And so depending on the kind of project you look at, whose superpower is required for this, and then assign accordingly.
So among the two of you, who has the most superpower?
She has hers and I have mine.
Okay.
I'm the design superpower.
Great.
And she's the coordinating superpower. Like when we sit in a meeting together, a new client is telling us about what he's looking for. I'm literally drawing in my mind.
Wow.
And she is putting together what needs to be done instantly to make this thing happen. So by the time we leave, she's making calls and I'm sketching.
I must say that you two are a perfect collaboration.
Absolutely.
Because, it's always said that women coming together, we are able to do a lot of things together. But I look at you and I'm like, you gel so well and all that. How are you able to blend everything, like your personality, different personality, her personality, and also to get a good output as far as your work is concerned?
Well, I see it as everyone is different. And if you understand that this person is different from you, and so their way of doing something may not be your way of doing something, you focus on their strengths rather than their weaknesses. And when there are weaknesses and you are finding challenges, you bring it up, it's discussed. The person will say, oh, I didn't know I was doing that, or I meant it this way. It makes it easier. In the end, the goal is to finish that project, do that work, and that's why we are together in this place. It's not for her to like me or me to like her. If, as a bonus, we like each other, that's great.
That's even better.
That's even better, but the goal is to complete the work, and if that's your goal, then you make sure whatever needs to be done for it to get done.
Has there ever been an instance where you would say, for instance, that, okay, I went out there, our clients are not too satisfied with this. I think that you're the one who is in control of the drawing. Can we tweak it a little bit and all that? Has there ever been an instance like that?
Oh, yeah. We have that.
So yes, we have that. So as much as I have my superpower and she has her superpower, we're working still in sync.
Yeah.
Literally every project we do, and thank God for WhatsApp, but every project we do, we have a WhatsApp group with all the project participants on it. Of course, with two of us always on it. And so we get to constantly be reviewing each other's work, whatever is coming out. Because at the end, we represent the same force. For us, it's that Agnes produces the excellence that Agnes is known for. So when it comes to that, personality or whatever aside, for us it's for the work to go out the way we expect it to, in pursuit of excellence.
Okay.
I think another thing that helps is we are also very strong, faithful women of faith.
Great.
And just generally having that base makes us have, a certain layer of understanding of our humanity, our personality, that really just some things we are able to deal with because we also pray together. I mean, when you pray with someone, it's almost impossible to fight with.
You pray
Almost.
together?
Oh yes.
Oh wow.
We actually have a
you
prayer.
Pray, you pray in the
group.
office or on a
Yes,
platform?
we pray in the office.
Wow.
Which
Then
has
we
a
have
platform.
as well. Everything has a platform.
When two women pray together, when two or more women pray together, miracles do happen.
Absolutely.
Miracles do happen.
God can't help it. The voices are pretty loud.
But also, I mean, looking at Christianity teaches us we are different parts of one body. That's really what the office too is, different parts. So somebody may be the hand, somebody may be the brain. In the end, you need that whole body to get to a destination. And if you work in sync, you get to that destination.
Now you're working in a male-dominated field. How were you able to break barriers, winning awards? And I'm sure there are more that you're going to be winning. How were you able to do that?
I think maybe also from our training, because both of us from school went straight to work with a woman.
Okay.
Absolute phenomenal architect. She's German. But the fact that we were women was never an issue because we were doing work. And the important thing was to do good work. So it maybe from our training, the female parts didn't, stand out too much. And because of that, our almost everything we do is so focused on the work that really when you put it there, whether it's a woman or a man, a good work is a good work. So that's how we've been able to, I think we've been able to navigate. We've put in that much in our work so that the gender doesn't even come into play.
Wow. Kids on the compound whilst you're working, their parents are also there working.
Yeah.
How are you able to handle all that?
But
and I'm
that's
sure that
right.
you probably did that because of an experience that you had in the past. Is that right? To have an on-site nurse to your crutch on the office premises.
So it is life, and this is something really eventually it's become really a passion of ours. Whether we like it or not, it is we who will carry the children. It is we who will birth them. It doesn't change what we are capable of doing. It doesn't change how good we are at what we do. I think it's an injustice to push women out of career because of their natural responsibility. If women will decide to stay home, let it be because they are choosing to, which is a full-time job in itself.
Yes.
Let it be because they are choosing to, not because they don't have a choice. Not because the world or the world of career hasn't accommodated us. So I started the company literally with my baby in his cot by my chair.
Wow.
Yes, from the time he was in my tummy walking around sites, and then when he came out by the chair with the client sitting across. At the end of the day, you've come to me because there's a product I delivered that you want. The fact that I have a baby right next door, if it comes across as it's affecting the work I'm giving you, then we have a challenge. But you see, that's where we put in the extra effort to ensure that whatever it is we are putting out there, irrespective of my baby lying next to me in the court, it's competitive to any job, presented by any man anywhere. So yes, that's how it became part of the culture. And of course, in employing people, they will come into an interview and see you with your children.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to tell you don't bring your child because, because then it's part of the office culture. And by that, I also realized that it's made the staff comfortable. It made the staff more productive in a sense, because if you came to work having left your sick child at home, even though that child is not walking around and bugging into your work, your mind will never be on that work.
True.
But if you knew the child was upstairs in a nursery and you could walk up 10 minutes, check on them, administer the medication and come back down, you would have the peace of mind to do as much work as you need to do. So this is to all companies out there, please, please, please create space for the children. They are parts of the equation.
That's a passionate appeal.
Very passionate. Every public space, hotels, malls, markets, wherever, hospitals, banks, yes. You need to create space for people who are coming with children to comfortably also transact their business.
Let's talk about your successes, Chuck. Well, I realized that for some of the UMB offices that they have, Agnes designed it. Is that correct?
Yes.
And even with EcoBank, is that correct?
Yes, we worked on EcoBank Capital's office at Ridge, the Vaco Trust building. We refurbished the interior of the 3rd floor, which was one of their offices. And then with UMB, we designed the architectural brand when they were transitioning from Merchant Bank to UMB, and then designed and built 2 of their branches as the flagship. And then they've rolled out a couple more after that.
So with the UMB, for example, for the first time, a bank was considering their branding as more than the graphics.
Wow.
Yes, and I think that was very interesting. So that the building alone, not just the colors they painted it, or the graphics, the signage, but the building in its character also spoke to a particular brand. So that's when they came to us to develop or conceptualize a brand they could use in all their branches. Of course, once we did that, we had to build 2 of them as a test, which was Laboni and East Legon. And then they have rolled it out for the rest of their branches.
The awards.
The awards. Which of them? All of them.
All of them. How do they make you feel? Because 10 years. The male wish that they have that, but you do.
So, how do they make us? I mean, it's nice on the shelves, and it's nice on our profile. But I think, do you want to take that?
Well, for me, it's that every project, whether it's award-winning or not, we give it the same care and the same attention because it's our work. It's a reflection of who we are and what we do. It's nice when somebody else also acknowledges that you've done a good work. And I mean, then you get the accolades and you have the awards. That's great. But we do the same level of, we give the same level of care for each project. And if, as a bonus, we get an award, that's great. If we get more awards, that's great. But
all right, so let's talk about your childhood, both of you. Agnes, how was your childhood like?
Interesting.
You grew up in a Dadabi environment or a very quiet environment?
Half and half.
Okay.
Half and half. I grew up in a small nuclear family, but we lived with my grandmother who ended up bringing everybody to the house. I think most people around that time grew up because you would have cousins, people coming to live with you and learn things. My grandmother was a matron, so we always had people coming to learn to cook, coming to learn how to sew, things like that. So that's how I grew up. I was lucky and blessed to go to a Dadabi school.
Very.
Which is Holy Child.
No, I went to Ridge School, the Ridge School.
Oh,
the Ridge School, 1966 in Kumasi.
The Ridge School.
Anike, why are you rolling your eyes?
She doesn't like the idea.
In Kumasi, and it was a multinational school. We had people from all over the world there. We had amazing headmistress who would play classical music in the morning to let you be aware of classical music. We had
calm you down.
We had Christmas plays where we acted maybe the Phantom of the Opera or things, some kind of plays based on maybe a concerto or something by Beethoven. Those are the things you learned. We also did learn favorite Ghanaian dishes.
Favorite Ghanaian dishes? We teach them about that.
So which is your favorite? Not the one from Ridge. I mean current
food. No, I like food, so
you do?
I'm a foodie.
Tell me about it. I do
So it's
too.
difficult to settle on one.
Great.
If it's good,
she will help herself.
You like the soups?
Yes, I like the soups. I like the soups. So that was my childhood, and then eventually secondary school, I went to Holy Child School where I met her, and from there came UST for university where
we continued. And we've continued ever since.
Would you say that your childhood really has shaped you this much into the woman you have become?
Yes. I mean, there are lots of experiences. The unrelenting mother who you can always do better and would push the word of the Lord. He says, if I don't leave you with anything, I'm leaving you with Christianity. I'm leaving you with the word of God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, her constantly pushing has also made me become that nothing, even if you think you've arrived, you haven't really arrived. There's always better. You can always do better. The training in Ridge School helped me see that there's really a wide range of things and experiences you can borrow from, and so you try and expand your knowledge and your boundaries as much as possible. That makes you a richer person.
Did you have a similar upbringing as Agnes? She mentioned Ridge School and you were not so much into Ridge.
Yeah, so I grew up in a really large family.
Okay.
For us, it wasn't a small nuclear it was a big nuclear with also lots of others. My mom, also a vocational professional, so hairdressing, dressmaking, she has a salon, and you have always a lot of girls coming to learn, things like that. And then my dad is a civil engineer. We weren't too wealthy, but we weren't, broke either. What we needed, we had, but you won't get beyond what you need. and like I was saying, for me, because I grew up with so many people, I think it made me learn how to just live with a lot of people. Most people that know me just associate me with being able to flow with everyone. Because the types of characters that showed up in my house that we had to live with, and even in sharing, because in a family like that, you never have something that belongs to just you. Everything is sharing. There's a small thing, I have a small pet peeve from growing up, which the office girls have to suffer it, because all I looked forward to was to grow up to buy my own ideal milk and pour what I want without anybody, without thousands of people looking at you like, are you going to finish it so that we won't get so literally, so in my office when they serve me, you dare not try to see, try to make the milk, measure the milk.
Make the tiny hole.
And make a tiny hole. No, don't restrict it.
It must be big enough so you can
pour
everything.
I work this hard so I can pour what I want.
Whoa.
Without anybody looking at me judgmentally. But yeah, that's really it. And it leaves you with so many memories. It was really amazing, because you also had, at every point in time, you had every generation in the house. So you had the university people, the secondary school people, we were always the kids. But it was nice,
So did your parents have to influence you in the choice of career that you have?
Okay, so I'm an artist at heart. When I was in Morning Star, I would always gravitate towards anything to do with arts, both visual arts, performing, anything arts. But I was also quite good on the book side. So, it was a challenge even for my teachers who were molding me which direction to go. My father, very, very supportive of me painting everywhere, including the walls in the house, which broke my mom's heart. But because, typical Ghanaian mother, she couldn't see where this art would take you. Like, what are you going to do with art in your life? So, in choosing which career path to take, going to secondary school, I just wanted to do visual arts. I had a teacher who was secretly supporting me, Uncle Fifi, secretly supporting me and making me unrelenting. Even though the rest of the teachers said, no, she has to do something else. Anyway, so thankfully when we had to select, my mother wasn't in town, she had traveled. My father proudly walked me to the office to take visual arts. This broke my mother's heart. But she went and discovered you could take art to university and study something called architecture, which sounded so much more respectable to her. And so there was a little blackmail there that if you have gone to pick this art, you might as well continue into architecture. So, I mean, really, until the first day I sat in my architecture class, I had no clue what it was about. I didn't even understand the word architecture because all I know is how to draw. So it's interesting. Mine was a blackmail, which turned out to be something I love.
Which turned out to be a blessing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's an interesting conversation we're having on the PL show. Stay with us. We will be back with more.
Should you rumor to me?
Tonton master, ebe ye juma na mo. Hwese o madahati. Roma insecticide spray ada Roma. Interfere, entatia, mekeche ha. No way. Hwemekunu. Tonton ba ko kra afane mo. Eno so a empusi. Roma insecticide spray and mosquito coil. Emma wo dem we sham. Roma, Akua.
Roma and Tonton Master.
Yena. Makechiano, why are you?
Oh! Tum preco. Saso. Mwa. Saso.
Abban, oh, you saso. Yena, saso.
Yes, saso. Madam, saso. What?
Saso. Emo beyond that. Saso. Ekum tum. Ni mwa. Saso. Tum preco.
Welcome back from the commercial break. Would like to say a big thank you to our proud sponsors, Roma Mosquito Spray and Coil in Tonton Master, Feco Spray Starch, Luke Sharp. Would like to say thank you as well to the Labadi Beach Hotel for this beautiful scene that we have here to shoot the PL show every Sunday. Thank you once again, the Labadi Beach Hotel. And Roma insecticide spray is very effective. It kills mosquitoes and all other crawling and flying insects in your homes, in your offices, or wherever you may find yourself. It leaves a nice and very pleasant fragrance in your room after use. No headaches and catarrh after use. Roma in Tonton Master. Okay, so we are back in our conversation. I like the way you're smiling already, Agnes. Let's talk about support system. You wanted to do architecture from the beginning.
I wanted to do architecture after secondary school.
After secondary school.
I didn't know this.
So I can say from the beginning, because that's more like your serious formative years. Yes, but Naneka didn't want to do. But both of you find yourself in this field. How has people who are not really directly connected to your field supported you in terms of your career, and how supportive has your families also been? For instance, for Naneka, who has a mom who says, go into architecture because I think it's a good field, and definitely the family must be supportive. Is that right?
Yes. Well, my family, I've always been the rebel, kind of, as introverted and quiet as I come across. I've always been the rebel, and I've always wanted, if I wanted to do something, most likely I'll get to do it. I chose Holy Child School. My mother at that time said I should choose something in Kumasi because we grew up in Kumasi and it would be simpler for them to come and visit. I refused. She said, we will not come and visit you. I said, it's fine. I'll be fine. And I went anyway. Yeah. So when I chose to do architecture, my mother had passed by that time. And we were living with an auntie of ours, and she wanted me to go and meet senior architects and other lecturers so that they gave me advice on the choice. A couple of them were not very supportive. They thought as a female I should find something less stressful. Some of them
find architecture very stressful.
Yes, it is very intensive.
Even the number of years you spend in school makes it more stressful.
And the amount of time and even the credit hours, because we do 8 to 2 o'clock lectures,
regular lecture,
like everybody else.
Like everybody else.
But then you have to complete your studio work, so that means we go back in the evening and spend most of the night drawing and things like that. So, I mean, yes, maybe they meant well in their own, from their point of view, but all I heard was, you can't do it.
And so she did it.
And so I dug my heels in and decided I was going to do it anyway.
I think that's one of her superpowers.
You shamed the naysayers.
Yes, I really don't like it when someone says you can't. Why can't I?
You prove to them that you can.
That's one of her superpowers. She's unrelenting.
Yes.
Unrelenting, and that's in a good way. That's actually very, very good for this dynamic. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how I ended up
doing
architecture, yes.
Support system from your field. Male counterparts supporting, people in the field itself giving you the support. Is it that positive or encouraging enough?
In terms of support,
it's difficult to say.
It is difficult. I think you need a bit of rebellion in you to survive the training, the practice, the training and the practice. My rebellion was slightly different from hers. Mine was that if I sat in a lecture hall and a lecturer was saying A is equal to that or this is because of that, I will question it. And I'll keep questioning it. This is a training where if you question too much you can be victimized. There's a lot of victimization. Some of us withstood the victimization. Some people coil back and then you become timid and you don't get to explore so much. But there has to be a bit of rebellion in you to stand whatever is coming.
What do you say to women, young women, who are aspiring to be in your field of work? Some of them from school, they're not too sure they want to do this.
99%.
But something inside tells them that go for it. But they don't have the zeal, the passion and the strength like you do, the rebellion attitude like you do, to want to go into it. What would you say to them?
I would advise any young person who is in architecture, thinking about it, not sure, that if you're considering it, go ahead, go through it and give it your best. As you learn, you figure out what best works for you, because thankfully architecture is not narrow, it's really, really broad. There's so much you can do. I think in Ghana we don't even scratch the surface of what architecture could be. There are people who design taps, there are people who just design facades, there are people who research into materials. There's so much you can do, and so if you take it seriously enough to understand what architecture is, you'll be able to find your own niche and develop your style of architecture, which may end up being what the world actually needs. So that's what I would.
And before Akua, you motivate the youth or the young girl or young man watching us who wants to get into the field of architecture. Let me ask you this before you respond to that. Let's look at Ghana, the way we design our buildings as an architect. In your opinion, are we doing a good work? What are we doing wrong and what are we doing right? And how can we right the wrongs?
Under the circumstances, I think architects generally have given their best. You are dealing with challenges of people not even knowing they have to work with an architect. People not believing they need to work with an architect, even when they know they have to work with an architect. And then an urban landscape that is not, it's planned on paper, but not on the ground, because development is always, the planning is always chasing the development.
True.
So already the general framework that will even bring out that best practice, best possible situation, it's not there. That means that what is being done technically is not bad at all. I'm saying this even more because I'm experiencing some other African countries and we are not bad at all.
Really?
Oh yeah, we are not bad at all. We have a long way to go, no doubt. But I think things are changing. People are now becoming more and more sensitive to what is possible with physical space. If you've noticed in recent times, the smallest corner, and these days when you pass even in East Legon and places like the smallest corner, they are doing something and there's an effort to present it a certain way. You know, architecture is gaining ground, and these are not foreigners, these are Ghanaians doing it. We have our own challenges we face. We don't have the money either. Most people don't have the money anyway to splurge on the architecture. In other countries, you don't have a choice, number one. Number two, there's the money for it. So it shows. Here there isn't, but even with that, generally I think architects are doing their best, no doubt about that. The only place where I wish that, can I really go there? You are pushing me to go there. You are pushing. Where I wish that the opportunity will be given to practitioners as a whole to actually compete on level ground for projects where they are not constrained, for example, with this cost matter. If there's ever, and that's why you have things like, and you've heard probably in recent times, issues with projects that are funded by government and the architects may be coming out or protesting somehow that the chance be given to everyone else, because this means that these are projects that are financed. It means that you are also not as restricted as your everyday work. It means that then you have a platform where you can actually express on the same level as anybody anywhere. And then, only then, can we determine whether Ghanaian architects are worth their salt or not. Until then, we are doing our best and we will continue to do our best.
And a word for the young woman who wants to be like Nanekia or get into your field.
I think in all fields, for young women, they need to see women making it. They need to see women actually surviving it. Because from day one, there's a sense that you are slightly disadvantaged because you are a woman. I was personally, I don't know if I can say this, but there was a show, Today's Woman. When I was in school, I think, is when they started showing it. I think that was probably one of the first shows that actually exposed women doing something and doing it well and competing at same level as the men.
And the PL show is doing excellently
exactly.
well in that.
Exactly, which has birthed things like the PL show. But in my time, this was a show for some reason I couldn't bring myself to miss, because just seeing women in their daily lives, they would show them at home, leaving for work, sitting at work, and even others, their workers talking about them, things like that. It's like, this actually exists. You can be a woman and still, succeed. But if we don't expose these things and the girls don't see, they really believe they can't do it. I saw women doing it and I was encouraged to push. Because of that, for example, we are sitting here because we know someone could be watching who would be in the same circumstances and at least be encouraged that it is possible. So if there's really any lady watching now, either in school practicing or thinking about doing architecture, it's not that bad. You can do it. Agnes and I have survived, and a lot more other ladies actually. So many other ladies who are also, pushing the boundaries in the profession.
But when a female architecture firm is mentioned, it's Agnes.
Yes.
So I'm going to say, finally, what would you want to be remembered for after all is said and done, Agnes?
We were able to produce an architecture that is relevant to the location in this environment, that will last a number of years, probably be the anchor for a new style of architecture or the reference point for a new style of architecture. And in addition, that we were able to inspire so many other younger ones, particularly females, to achieve to greater heights. They don't have to become architects, but that in whatever endeavor they choose to go to, they give it the same passion, the same care that we did with our works. For me, that's what I want to be remembered for.
And that was a very powerful, insightful conversation with Nanekia and Agnes of Agnes. And I'd like to say to you who is watching us that whatever you want to be in life, you can become. Do not let anyone stop you. find your purpose and fulfill that God-given purpose. Ladies, thank you for coming. But before you leave us, we've got a special package we want to give to you. Yes, from our sponsors. We say use a lot of Roma insecticide spray in your home and Roma mosquito coil in Tonton Master.
Thank you. At this rate,
Thank you
I don't think
very
any
much.
mosquito can come here. Near our house or office.
Thank you. Mosquito spray was on my list to buy things, so it's sorted.
We'd like to say a big thank you to our sponsor, Roma Mosquito Spray and Quell in Tonton Master, Feco Spray Starch, Look Sharp. And this is the PL Show. So we are linking you to Ellie Karis for #trending right now on the PL Show.
Should you rumor to me?
And Tonton Master, a baby Jumanamo. Kiso Madahati. Roma insecticide spray ada Roma. Interfere, Entatia, Mekacheha. No way! Shemikuno, and Tonton Bako crown fanamo. And also a pussy. Roma insecticide spray and mosquito coil. And how dare we sham? Roma,
Roma and Tonton Master.
Wow! My uniform looks different.
Feco spray starch. Majimo point. Rachi, pause. When you want to run into the moon, I feel you spray starch, papa. On particles be water, no wrinkles, smooth ironing.
Yes, Papa. Feco spray starch. Me here perfume.
Also, yes, guy.
Feco spray starch.
Look sharp.
Look sharp, look sharp.
Yena. Maketiano, why are you?
Oh!
Tum tum preku. Saso. Mwa. Saso.
Papa no, oh you saso. Yena saso.
Yes, Saso. Madam, Saso. What?
Saso.
Emo beyond that down. Saso. Ekum tuntum. Ni mwa saso. Kum tuntum preku.
Inspiration can come from any angle, but how do you take that idea and make it a reality? Today on #trending, I am meeting with Miss Precious Bonsu at Inyonyo restaurant inside East Legon for a quick conversation. She is a young female entrepreneur who is changing the narrative with her various establishments. My name is Ellie Karis. Come with me.
It is such an honor to finally meet you, the global teacher. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How
You
are
look good.
Thank you so much for having me.
First of all, is the plan of becoming a president someday part of the goals?
Did a little bit whisper to you? Because, yeah, I'd love to.
Well,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. The first female president in Ghana. But where
Would
from
you
global-
vote for me, though?
I'll be your campaign manager.
Oh, thank you so much.
Nice
But
to
yeah,
meet you once
pleasure
again
to
and
meet
making time for us.
Thank you.
We're from Global Teacher.
It's funny because a lot of people think, okay, because I'm into education and, you know, I work with children. But no, I woke up one day and while I was still in my bed thinking, I asked myself, what's my purpose on earth? You know, I'm known to do a lot of things. I'm pretty sure, you know, you've done some research about me because I do so many things. And I asked myself, if I'm to walk into a place and they asked, who are you? You know, people are engineers, people are doctors and all that. What would I want to be called? And it just dawned on me, I think God spoke to me that I'm a teacher. And then I asked him, well, but this is before I started the school or anything else. So I'm like, what do you mean I'm a teacher? And he said to me, I'm able to teach people everywhere, anytime, at every point. Even things that I do not know, you know, things that I have no experience with. So he just said to me, you are a teacher on a global level, not because it's Ghana or Nigeria or whatever, but then the fact that beyond that, the fact that you can teach universally on any topic and all that. So I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So this is me going on my Instagram and changing my name from Miss Bonsu, which is my surname, to the global teacher. People asked me like, people were like, I mean, where did this come from? And after that, geesh, I don't know, but yeah, so the story sounds so out of place, but that's the story behind that. And now I am a teacher, I have a school. It's just very surreal. Yeah.
From Miss Ghana 2012 finalists to creating businesses from out of the box thinking, how did it all start?
So while I was in school, I started writing. I wrote my first book, which is The Magic Tooth. I write books for kids. Before I knew it, I had 4 books, which is published on Amazon. The thought came, which was actually a project in school to do a kids newspaper, and that's Treasure Kids newspaper. And after Treasure Kids newspaper, I was doing camps. I was helping people to do kids camp during the summer and holidays. And that was not enough as well, because I had parents calling me, oh, so what are you doing now? And I'm like, you have to wait till summer. But then the thought came to, why don't I have a program that kids could come to every time? And that's where the WIT School came. It's an after-school program. And kids come there to do alternative learning. So if you have talent in singing, if you have talent in arts and crafts, whichever thing that you want to learn, that's the WIT School. And then parents came to me again, I want my kid to come to your school because summer is not enough for the child. Christmas is not enough. So now we have a preschool, and very soon we'll have elementary school. So the story is very long, but this is the little I can tell you.
Your aim is to improve literacy among children in Ghana. And you started from projects. Today, we are here, the big picture. What is the importance of that training in order to survive in this field?
Okay, so like I said to you before, my grandma raised me, and she taught me a few values that I'd like to share with others. I have always been someone who had a mind of my own, not to follow any trend, not to follow what anyone is doing, but then to find a passion and really live up to it. I found that while in school, I was a highly literate person. Not because I was better than the rest of them, but because I had parents who invested heavily in my education. Especially, buying books and making sure I was reading practically every day. And so the main reasons why I write for children, for example, is for them to have access to materials to read all the time. But then in Ghana, you've heard stories about we not being a reading nation. So even if you're giving someone free material to read, you need to actually beg them and to ensure that they're doing it. So I just think that we need to shift our focus a little bit more. When people are well educated, it's easier to transform them, because when you talk about policies, for example, you have only 15 to 20% of the whole population understanding what you're talking about. How do we then make sure that we push your policies forward? And so for me, I really wish that the government, individuals, philanthropists, whoever are able to embrace, people who are trying to push literacy in Ghana, because that's the way to go. That's the fundamental thing we need to crack. And once we're able to do that, the rest is history.
You spoke about not following trends. As an entrepreneur, what is your take on the current trends of entrepreneurship in Ghana?
An entrepreneur is someone who creates businesses and takes the risk of that business, right? So it doesn't matter what you're doing. I truly respect, especially women who are trying to do something for themselves. But you have to have a bigger picture. For me, before I start a project, I end the project before I start. So if you ask me now how the WIT School is going to be like in 20 years, I can give you a picture. I can actually pull a picture I've printed and show you. That's how you create, because you don't start the first year, it's all booming, and then 2 years later we can't find you again, which is mostly what we find around. And so the trend has just been people following whatever their friends are doing, or they see a lot more of, everybody is now a makeup artist, or they sell wigs, or they sell. I truly respect all of that, but if you look deep down, if you do some introspection, is this something you really want? Because all of us can make an impact. And so you need to find your space. The sky is big enough to accommodate all of us. You just need to find what you're passionate about and follow through.
Let's talk about the WIT school. How much do you want to know the kids, the students, in order to be most helpful to them?
Okay, so I always say this. What I've learned from my work is to educate a child properly, you need to be able to, first of all, nurture them before they are even conditioned enough to be educated. What we see around is, and no offense to anyone, but then what we see around is schools just concentrating heavily on the education of the child. You need to learn how to spell, you need to know your numbers, you need to, but then a child is a human being who has emotions, who has, a child is, it just doesn't work with just trying to tap into them mentally. You have to touch their hearts first, and then you can touch their brains, as we say at the school. So for us, what we do with the kids is we do a lot of assessment. When a child comes to us, we do a whole week assessment. We want to know what their strengths and weaknesses are, their emotional intelligence, their social skills. All of that come to play. And once we know that, okay, this child, because even when you take learners, there are different kinds of learners. There are people who are very visual, there are others that are auditory, there are others that are kinesthetic, there are others that are a combination of all three. And so we need to know that if a child is a visual learner, I need to show them more colors, more shapes, more of that. If a child is an auditory learner, I need to be able to speak to the child. So what if you have a class of 10? How are you going to combine all of that? We teach in different styles, the same lesson, but then different styles, different, approaches. And so for us, it's a very, very comprehensive thing we're doing at the WIT school, and parents can see results. Our dream is for the WIT school. We want to take the WIT school to the world. We know that out of the millions of kids that can come to our school, we can't accommodate them. Even if the whole school is the entire country, we still won't be able to accommodate the number of kids we have. And that's why, I don't know whether you've seen it, but we started producing content for the public consumption, where we teach kids from colors to shapes and all that. And it's a WIT school presentation. What we're trying to do is to use technology to push education to the less privileged, for example. So once we're done with that production, we aim to, go into communities with our volunteers to, just mount screens and start playing all these things. So a little child in Baoleshi will know that a baby lion is called a cub. But unfortunately, maybe because of financial constraints, they won't be able to come to the WIT school. So we want to take the WIT school to our communities. Yeah.
Once again, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me, and I wish you the best in all your projects.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So, with my help and yours, we can definitely assist Precious to do more to enrich young readers. Special thank you going out to Abby's collection for my beautiful dress, F&M for my hair. Just get on my Instagram page, Ellie_Caris, for all the information. My name is Ellie Caris, and this has been #Trending.
Thank you very much, Ellie Caris, for bringing us #Trending for today, from that young entrepreneur who is doing amazingly well in the field of education. Once again, I would like to say thank you to our proud sponsors, Roma Mosquito Spray and Quell, Intuntum Master, Feco Spray Starch, Look Sharp. Thanks to Vogish for my lovely outfits, to Reggie's Orange Beauty Salon for my hair, and would like to say a big thank you as well to the Labadi Beach Hotel for giving us your beautiful place to shoot the PL show. My name is Klordey Fritzal Abban. We'll return same time next week on the same platform with the PL show. Make a date. Bye-bye.